Welcome back to Selections Using Paths tutorial. This is our last and final segment of the tutorial. In this video we will use our path selection that has been cleaned up and make it into a selection. We'll make some modifications to it using the quick mask mode, and finally bring in a new background using the selection as a mask. Let's get started. As you can see, I've cleaned up all the way around the robot, and if I click on the outline here, yeah, all the way around. And if we zoom into the areas with a soft focus, okay, right in here, okay, you'll see I've split the difference between the objects and the background. There's some spillover here between the background and the object itself in the very blurry area. I tend to come into the object a little more to accommodate softening the edge when we get to this part of our task. With the outline selected in the Paths panel, you can see here I've got it selected. We go to the flyout menu of the Paths panel and choose Make Selection. Okay, because the edges are slightly soft, we choose to put either a 1 point pixel feather radius. The feather is to smooth out and make a little bit of a blurry edge across the distance of 1 pixel on either side of our path. And then we do want the anti-alias checked because that makes a smooth instead of a hard pixely edge. So anti-alias is what we want to have selected. Okay, I'm going to make it a 0.5. You can't really go any further down than 0.5. Okay, so click OK, and here's our selection. Now we want to manually soften the edges where we have the most blurry focus. And so first of all, I want to turn on quick mask mode, and that is in your tools towards the bottom, the button here, edit in quick mask mode. Okay, and as you can see here, this masks out or protects the background currently, whereas we have the robot out in focus. Either way, it doesn't matter which is being masked out. We're interested at the moment in blurring the edges that need it. Okay, so I'm going to switch to another tool, which is your blur tool, and that one's right here towards the middle. If you do not see that, it looks like an eye drop or water drop, and it might be hidden behind the sharpen or the smudge tool, so you want to go in there. And then up in the options panel, okay, for your blur tool, when you have that, we can make modifications to the size of the brush, or in other words, the area that we want to affect. And we can mess with the strength. 100% is full strength, and that may overdo it. So be careful, you can slide this up and down as you need the strength. Okay, so this area right here is what I want to hit. There's another way to make your brushes, just in general, smaller or bigger. If you hit the bracket, the square bracket key on your keyboard, the right hand one makes it larger, left hand one makes it smaller, by about 10 pixel like jumps between them. So if I want to really focus in an area, I make it smaller. So if I click and drag across the edge, you can kind of see it smoothing out. If I zoom in here even a little bit more so, just so you can see it, okay, it blurs the edge. Now that's not blurring my object, it's blurring the mask. Okay, so don't overdo it. It's just the edge right there, and you see here I don't need that hard edge. I've really looked at this picture, and the method that you want to utilize is to go clockwise, or in other words the same direction as what you drew, all the way around. Okay, I'm using the spacebar key so that I can manipulate the hand tool, or in other words pan around. So I'm going to modify a couple of spots that I think are a little bit blurry right in here. Not everything. Okay, so I'm going to the bottom here. I know that, if I remember right, okay, so the focus here. Okay. Ooh, I don't have my the inner part here selected. Okay. So, but that's kind of something I would have to make sure I choose and make sure that I have all of my selections, all of my paths selected. That's what the mistake is here. Okay. So I'm not too worried about that. I can always come back in later and modify my selection a little. Alright, the main thing is I'm going and blurring the areas that I need to hit. Alright, so blur the areas as you need them, and we want to preserve the areas that we don't. Okay, and the reason that we want to blur some edges is that we want to match the focus of the photo more to be having a more natural look like the photo itself. Okay, so just keep in mind there is nothing worse than making a mask or selection and then changing a color or background using that selection and have it look fake. So hard edges can look fake if you have a photo like we have here in this demo that's got some hard and some soft edges. So I like to match that. Okay, not everything is in crisp, pristine focus. And I remember here on this eye, that edge further back was a little bit softer. So I went all the way around and hit all the edges I think that needed. Okay, let's zoom out. And then deselect the quick mask mode. Okay, just click on the button and we've got our selection back into place. Now how can I make it so that that is, utilized there? I've made kind of a mistake. Well, if I go back into quick mask mode, alright, and I'm going to go ahead and get the selection tool here. If I click on the outline, what I want to make live is this right here is the hole that I made within the legs. And so I'm going to make that into a selection. Alright, I'm glad I kind of made a problem here. So then I can actually fill that with the foreground color, which in this case is black, but basically it's just masking it out. And you can see there. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to do, deselect, Command or Control D to deselect. Zoom into that spot a little bit, okay? And then I need the blur tool to just hit that again. Alright, I really worked hard on this selection, and I know that I said that I was using paths to create vector, a selection that would be stored with minimal memory taken up, but I do need to store it actually as a channel. And why I want to do that, I worked hard at the selection and I want to keep those modifications. So under the Select drop-down menu, we're going to go ahead and choose Save Selection, and I'll name it this time Outline with Blur. Sounds good to me. It's a new channel. Click OK. And if we go to the channels, there it is. Okay. So just to kind of make a point, I'm going to deselect this. Don't worry about it, because now that we have the selection saved, all right, this is actually what it looks like. I clicked in the middle of my channel there, and I'm going to show you that blurry edge. You can see it even clearer. Look at that right there. Okay, that's blurry, and the rest over here is not quite so blurry. All right. Now to get back to RGB, I've got to click in the RGB channel in the middle of it, and it'll turn off my channel there. So I will get the channel back, but I'm going to go to the Layers panel for now, and I need a background. So I've got this beautiful Carnival chosen here, and going to Select All. Okay. Then copy and paste it, okay, into my picture here. Okay, so if I paste that, Alright, I've got a little problem with the RGB working space, but not to worry. We got difference between the camera and my working space, but we're okay, we're in RGB. Okay, it's pasted in the middle, and I want to move that all the way down to the bottom. Alright, and kind of move it around to see, like this to be showing a little bit. Yes, it is on top of the robot, and the intent is to make a mask so that the robot is visible through it. And what I want to do now is to get my selection back. So under the Select drop-down menu, Load Selection, alright, I'm choosing the one I just saved, Outline with Blur, and click OK. And if I use a mask, it's very easy to make this into a mask. Just at the bottom of the Layers panel is Add Layer Mask. This little tiny picture, like with a circle inside of it. And if you hover over those little icons, you'll see what it is. It's Add Layer Mask. Now if I hit this right now, I am using a mask on the robot shape. If I click that, it's just going to show in this picture what was in the inside of the selection, and that's not exactly what I want. So I'm going to undo it. You can use Command or Control Z to undo. I still have my selection, and what I want to do is inverse this selection. So sometimes you need to reverse what it is that you're selecting. Right now I'm selecting the inner part. I want to select the outer edges. So under the Select drop-down menu, we select Inverse, and you can see the dancing ants around the outer edge, and then so my selection is the direct opposite. Okay, so now let's hit the Add Mask, Add Layer Mask. Click on that. There's my robot, and I'm going to go ahead and crop this picture because I've got way too much at the top. Although I like it, you know, this is pretty cool. So now we're in a carnival situation, and then I'm going to double click to set the crop. Alright, and there is my robot. We're going to save him under a new name, and then if I need to put him in my portfolio, I can always flatten my layer by going in the Layers panel. Okay, don't do this before you are done with this, but go in the Layers panel, right or Control click, and you can always flatten an image and save it as a JPEG. First we save it as a Photoshop file with our layers and our masks and all that, and then we've got an editable mask as well. Alright, thanks for watching. Have fun.